featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian. And a squad of big-name contributors. The S Word from talkSPORT.
A very good afternoon and welcome to the S Word. It's not afternoon for our friends in the US though, 8 a.m. Eastern, and we are now just 8 days away from the World Cup. Will Gavin and Master Tess Fatsian alongside me. Are you feeling it? Are you beginning to get hyped?
I am. I'm about to get ready for USA Paraguay next week. And after their performance against Senegal, maybe I'm a little optimistic.
The main man is heading out to that game and will be reporting from us live from on the ground. And we're going to kickstart today's show because our journos, our reporters, our commentators are starting to land out stateside, out in Mexico, out in Canada. So we're going to bring you a flavour of some of the stuff going on in some of the camps, some exclusive England interviews, some exclusive Scotland interviews from out in LA with Ben Jacobs as well. And our World Cup previews continue. Are you ready? It's time.
Group C
for the USMNT.
And Group D, baby.
No USA, no chant, no.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I am, and maybe even much so, depending on how our conversation goes with Paul Tenorio. Maybe we win the group.
There we go. Paul Tenorio joining the show in the next hour as well. So loads for us to get to on the S Word. Get in touch with us. Get in the YouTube chat at talkSPORT S Word on both YouTube and on X and on Instagram and everywhere else. We'd love to hear from you as we bring you the biggest soccer show possible. There we go. Done. Happy? There we go. We haven't got the buzzers in here. Are we ready for some World Cup C, World Cup D action, sir?
I am. I'm hyped. I'm ready to go. After our conversations we had yesterday, previewing Group A and Group B, which you can take a look back on YouTube and also on everywhere you get your podcasts. To get caught up on that, this one's a big one. Group C is a very, very fun group. And then, of course, Group D, the wild card D, trying to understand where America will be placed in this group and what are their chances.
I love that you've mentioned winning the group already. That's beginning to
seep into my mind.
Yeah,
as we get closer.
I like it.
As the days keep... Yeah, I'm excited.
And listen to this. For a guest list for the show, I can't believe Yeehaw has been cut up and it's been played already. Listen to this for a guest list. We've got Kobbie Mainoo. We got Ollie Watkins. We got Ryan Porteous with Ben Jacobs. And we have got joining the show live, talking about the mighty Seleção, the brilliant John Cottrell. We've got Paul Tenorio, as you mentioned. He's on the ground in the camp with the USMNT. Felipe Cardenas will give us the little flavour of why Paraguay could be a trap game for Americans to start the tournament. And Flex will be here in the studio as it looks like Ederson is signing for Manchester United. Are they just getting Fred 2.0? That's
Did he enjoy the parade? They can't wait to ask him.
I mean, listen. Did you take over all of London? We'll ask him because he feels very differently to, I think, what the Arsenal fans feel.
What would he know about parades?
Nothing.
He's a United fan. He's an England fan. What does he know about parades?
Nothing hugely recently, to be fair. So, today we turn to Group C and Group D. We talk Brazil, we talk Haiti, we talk Morocco, we talk Paraguay, we talk Scotland, we talk Australia, we talk Turkey, and we talk
Turkey.
the good old US of A.
The World Cup bandwagon rolls on.
This World Cup will by far take soccer to the next stage in America.
Just love it. Love every moment because it is a beautiful game.
Lionel Messi pens the ultimate ecstatic chapter to complete his already extraordinary story.
They give us the faith to believe in these kind of things again.
Let the history unfold.
Comes to Vinicius Junior. 1-0.
Mbappe has a hat-trick. He has his place in history.
We are among probably the best team in the world.
A wonder goal from the wonder kid, Lamine Yamal.
Teams win championships. It's as simple as that.
Kane! 1-0 England.
And they can hardly believe it. For what a night this is for Scotland.
Every game's big in the World Cup.
Earlier today, and I'm probably giving away trade secrets here to tell you this, but Shabana Hearn was stood on a desk in the talkSPORT office reciting the Braveheart speech in full Scotland makeup, ready for the World Cup. That's the kind of place we've got to now, 8 days out. People have stopped talking about Arsenal choking it. People have stopped talking about... There's a little bit of transfer nattering going on. We have Piers Morgan in the studio and all sorts going on, but really, the fever in this building is building for the World Cup, Master. So, what I wanted to do to start the show was just show our boots on the ground, show that we are already out there in the US, got a presence there. And let's start by hearing from the England camp, of course, because our very own Faye Carruthers is out there. Henry Winter out there with her. We'll be joined throughout this show over the course of the next 2 weeks and throughout the World Cup when we go 7 days a week with our correspondents across America, Mexico and Canada. And Faye has been catching up with some of the great and the good from the England squad. Let's start off by hearing from Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, it's hot out here, but yeah, it's a great group of lads, and first session on the way, just getting acclimatised and stuff like that. But it's been good and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can see the sweat dripping off you. It is pretty hot and clammy out here, but that's what we're going to expect, isn't it? Did you expect this call-up, though? Because it was not that long ago where there was a lot of clamour for you to be in the England squad. Things weren't going well at club, and then all of a sudden things turn around.
Obviously, at the start of the season, you're always looking forward to being a World Cup year. But I was trying to just take it a game at a time and try and perform as best as I could in the game that was in front of me. And hopefully, if I did that, then this would come, and thankfully it has.
What was it like when Thomas gave you the call?
Yeah, it was amazing. The moment I'll never forget. To get the call and hear them good words from him, I was buzzing. Couldn't wait to call the family and tell them all that we was going to the World Cup.
Just finally, this is the first time we've spoken to you since Michael Carrick was officially named Manchester United manager. What was the reaction behind the scenes at Manchester United when that news came out?
Yeah, we was very happy with it. Obviously, we was behind the manager from the start. So many great performances under him, and I love the way he coaches and manages me personally and the team as well. And I think everyone in the squad can agree with that. And so when he officially got the job, we was so happy.
I feel like you partly need to thank him for your call-up.
Definitely, and I told him that I was very grateful, because if he hadn't put me on the pitch, then I wouldn't have been here. So yeah, I'm always grateful to him for that.
We've talked a huge amount about Thomas Tuchel's selections for the World Cup and what they mean and the decisions he's made, but for years, England fans have clamoured for players to be picked on form, not on name brand. And we're going to hear from Ollie Watkins in a moment as well. But Kobbie Mainoo is a prime example of someone who 6 months ago wasn't getting into his club side, despite the fact 18 months ago he looked like the future of the England midfield. It looked like him and Rice could anchor that England midfield for 10 years plus to come. The job that Michael Carrick has done bringing him back into the team, maybe there's no finer example of why moving on from Ruben Amorim was a good idea for Man United, beyond the results, beyond the points, beyond the third place finish, than seeing what Kobbie Mainoo has developed into.
I'm very happy for him. Yeah, there's always players that take advantage of the opportunity and maximize a domestic season to give themselves the best chance possible to make the World Cup roster. And Kobbie did that in spite of the adversity that he has faced at the club, and even at one point trying to force himself out so he can make the team. Kobbie Mainoo is a great example of that. Endrick is another great example of that with Brazil and what he did in Lyon. These young players seizing the opportunity, making the most of it, and being able to represent their nation this summer. He's a great depth piece in that midfield, particularly with all the minutes Declan Rice has logged this year, as Arsenal played, 62, 63 games. Kobbie Mainoo didn't play obviously in Europe, didn't play in the cup competitions. Man United was knocked out early. So if you're looking for someone that has fresh legs that you can spot in, and we know Tuchel loves to, change formations, change tactics, change the starting 11 quite frequently to give his team and his nation the best chance to win. I think Kobbie Mainoo is going to play a critical role in this midfield and for England.
On that very point, the fact that, I want to hear from Ollie Watkins as well. Like, we'll move on and talk about the USMNT. We saw that he was literally dripping with sweat there. Like, I think that training in Florida ahead of this tournament is one of the best places they could possibly do it. Get out there in the heat, get out in there in the humidity.
They'll be sweating in Kansas City too.
I'm sure.
They'll be sweating in Kansas City too.
I'm sure. But let's hear from Ollie Watkins, because the point of a player coming in and getting their club opportunities and having fresh legs. This is a guy who wasn't even in the squad back in March. I think he was a real shock that he was called up, but his late season form for his team was excellent, and he talked a little bit on what his role will be at this World Cup.
No, I think he hasn't spoke to me individually, but I know my game is different to all the other strikers. I think we're all completely different, and I know what I bring to the team, so he doesn't need to tell me what I bring to the team. I know that deep down, and I think everyone's seen that come like the back end of the season, what I'm capable of doing.
He talks a bit about the back end of the season there. If you watch the full interview, which is available now on the talkSPORT YouTube channel, he talks about the fact that he wasn't in that squad in March and how much that motivated him and how much it pushed him on to step up to another level. And then he was our best goal scorer, English goal scorer in the last 3 months of the season. And so, I don't know, I having heard the guys talking, having seen relaxed they were in camp yesterday, having hearing from Faye, boots on the ground, it feels like it's been a great kind of start to this whole campaign. And guess what? On Friday, they get joined by a bunch of Conference League champions, a bunch of Premier League champions who are only going to lift that squad higher.
Yeah, with Ollie was always interesting because there was a certain point in the season where he wasn't playing 90 minutes. And he's getting subbed off 60th, 70th minute, maybe because the performances weren't the greatest. I mean, you go back to February and March, and that was exactly the case. But in the final month of the season, with 6 goals, 2 assists, coming up big for Villa in the Europa League semis against Nottingham Forest, scoring there, having a couple big goals to help Villa secure Champions League even before the Europa League final. He finished the last month of the season in tremendous form. So it's well deserving for him. And he's absolutely right. He does give them something different, but also he provides a similar level of versatility that Harry Kane does, where the link-up play is there and his ability to finish in the box is there. And he can be used in certain situations. You're looking at that potentially the third match of being able to give Harry some time on the bench to rest him up for the knockout stage. So all in all,
we need a world where he's not playing 90 minutes.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You do. And if you got Ollie coming in for, 20, 30 minutes or starting and playing 70 minutes and you got Harry Kane coming off the bench for 20 minutes, I think that's a great scenario for England to be in. And then, of course, there's Ivan Toney as well. So they've got options. They've got options at that position. And, some of these guys can play together as well. So it gives this interchangeable side and this interchangeable solution that Tuchel's looking for England. It gives them as many different chances to answer all the problems that you may come across in a World Cup.
And finally, I just want to hear from, while we're doing some boots on the ground stuff, our friend, a friend of the show, Ben Jacobs, the excellent talkSPORT reporter. He is out on the West Coast. He's going to base with the USMNT. He'll be speaking with Mauricio Pochettino and a number of players. But whilst out in there in LA, he has been catching up with a man who is on the borders of the Scotland squad. He is one of the replacements available for call-up should there be any issues over the next 2 weeks. But Ryan Porteous made the move from Watford to LAFC earlier this year. And, well, just 2 weeks ago, not only played Lionel Messi in a game, but shut him down, got a clean sheet and had a heck of a performance against him. So let's hear from him talking about facing Leo Messi going from Watford to LA.
To be fair, that was a real pinch myself moment. But that was just like a complete, performance from the whole team defensively. I don't even think I think they had one shot inside or one touch or one shot inside our box that full game. So yeah, it was fantastic. Great experience to play against players like that. Suarez was playing as well, Rodrigo de Paul, and listen, these are the games, and that's the kind of moment that I was won, and that's what I was waiting for. To kind of put myself back out there and to show everybody that I'm still at the level and I'm still improving.
What was Messi specifically like to mark?
I don't think you can mark him. I think you can try and chase him and kick him. But he's probably the best player to ever play the game, and it was a little bit surreal. But as you need to be professional about it. You can't get caught up in the moment. But yeah, it was a game for sure that as soon as I got back into the apartment, I watched the whole game back. But it was brilliant.
How important is it that PK's players like yourself consider MLS as an ambitious move? Because it feels like with the World Cup just upon us and MLS constantly evolving, and maybe as importantly MLS shifting its calendar dates and therefore its window being aligned with Europe, the more people of your age at the peak of their powers might suddenly consider MLS.
I think a lot of players do, but it's just the kind of rules of the league with the salary caps and the kind of international slots, which obviously is in place to improve the US national team in years to come. But since I've came out here, I've had countless messages of players that are in kind of that age from 23 to maybe 30 that want to come out here. It's not as easy as it looks or sounds. It's a pretty tough place to get over here, but I think when you do, I don't think anybody would regret it.
Ryan Porteous speaking with our very own Ben Jacobs. In that interview, he talks a lot about the adjustment period of moving out to LA, of playing in that heat out there, of adjusting to playing in MLS itself. But it's interesting, that conversation of, I think we've talked about this quite a bit on the show, but the opportunities being afforded by this World Cup to US soccer domestically, to what it is for the MLS and everything else. And it is interesting to hear that he hears from a lot of players who want to play out there, and that it's not just, foreign import wise, supposedly 35-plus-year-olds who are at the end of their career and want a big payday.
No, there's a lot more to it. And I know that's the perception here in Europe. But, you get a lot of young talent from South America, from Africa, and, of course, domestically in the U.S. And you're starting to see that funnel through the pipelines, particularly most recently. You look at the under-20 World Cup in the USA, got to the quarterfinals, losing to Morocco, which eventually won the tournament. Last year, I think the under-17 team lost in penalties to Morocco in the knockout stage. And you're seeing the talent being displayed. And truly, for Team USA, there's a lot of hope and optimism in 2030 when a lot of these youth national team members that have come up through the pipeline and a lot of the things that have been trying to be cleaned up and funneled in terms of improving U.S. youth soccer, I think you'll really start to see that in 2030 when these kids make it up to the senior team. And so, credit to those that have been working behind the scenes to try and make it more accessible, make it more affordable, and simplify a lot of the funneling that didn't allow the best players to truly shine and participate in the sport. Because there's now 50 million people, I think they say, that they're avid soccer fans in America.
I've heard 60. That's
yeah. How big is the United Kingdom?
About 80 million.
Yeah,
it's not close. It's not far off.
It's not. So it's, and through that interest, it's just only going to grow in terms of its participation. In LA itself, I think that's the most played sports in the entire city. So, yeah, naturally, you're going to find more domestic products and domestic players that are going to want to get involved. And through that, it's going to draw more interest as the league continues to grow. And now that it aligns up, or it soon will align up with the rest of the calendar, I think that's naturally going to happen. But, there's a lot of things, the designated player stuff, the international slots, all the general allocation money, the targeted allocation money. It gets a bit complicated with MLS with all of these different rules and restrictions. There's ways around it with obviously green cards and being able to invest in players under 22 that gives you incentives to get in early on some of these youth talent and develop them. But I think naturally you're going to find MLS teams that are going to continue to want to invest in American products because the product's going to continue getting better.
But that's the thing, right? I think we all look at it and we see the MLS as someone like Ryan Porteous, right? Played his football at Hibs, played his football at Watford, played his football at Preston. Championship level player, basically. He's not a Premier League player. When you see the growth of the Premier League, you see the growth of the big La Liga teams and Bundesliga teams and how huge soccer and football is getting out in America in recent years. Does MLS have to adjust? Does it have to say, right, if we want to be competing in the market? Or, we love, I over here, a lot of English fans would love the idea of, squads where they are much more serious. We've had squads in cup competitions, things like that, where you've had to have a certain number of youth players, a certain number of academy players. But there's so many ways around that. Yeah, the homegrown player thing is absolute nonsense. Like the ways around it, the buying the best players out of Europe before they're 18 years old means they still count as homegrown players. Like, I think there's a lot of people who would love to see that properly put in place. But when it comes down to it, the money and it being the most attractive sport possible and bringing the best players in and everything like that ends up usurping it, ends up superseding it, ends up being the thing that people care about more. And it's why we get into those conversations in the end of like, well, then they make the big TV money. Is it unfair on other European leagues? Everything else that goes with that. Do you think the MLS, as well as adjusting its calendar and trying to fit more in with world football on that front, actually might start to loosen some of its terms, might start to try and bring more talent in?
It'd be nice to simplify it, but I think this probably isn't a time to loosen up those rules because, again, you want to grow the products that you have domestically here. Look, I'll use the Premier League for an example. Best league in the world, best league in Europe, without question. The player of the season is from Portugal. The Golden Boot winner is Norwegian. Golden Glove winner is Spanish. Who won Manager of the Year? Mikel Arteta?
I think Mikel Arteta won one of the awards and someone else won another because there's a couple of different bodies.
But he's Spanish. It's so
well, 4 of the top 5 clubs in the country are being managed by, as we spoke
from Basque Country,
guys from the Basque Country, right?
And so it would be detrimental to the growth and the position that the United States is in right now if they do open up the gates when there's a chance right now to find those homegrown managers, to find those homegrown players and continue to develop what has already been established over the last couple of decades with MLS. Like this, it would send the wrong signal because it feels like we're on the cusp of having that big boom and explosion in the youth system in terms of domestically.
Have we not felt like we're on that cusp for a little while?
We have, yeah, but I think now more than ever. And that's the hope with this World Cup is that with the interest there, with the talent there, with the growth there, the youth system continuing to get better through what U.S. Soccer has done, the new facility that they built in Georgia now, all the infrastructure needed to get better, and it's improving. To open that up to other people now, I think just sends the wrong signal in terms of what the entire initiative, what the entire effort, what the whole purpose of this was for, which was to grow U.S. Soccer and to have our own identity. And we're almost there, I feel like. We're almost there.
Well, we'll speak with Paul Tenorio from The Athletic later in this show to talk some USMNT, see where they are positioned for this World Cup, let alone for the future. We're going to be speaking also with Philip Cardenas to talk about Paraguay, a bit of South America. Flex will join us in the studio. United making some big moves already, or are they big moves? Are they actually bringing in players that are going to be pushing them towards a Premier League push? But up next, we'll look at Group C and the mighty Seleção. What about Brazil? Are they one of the favourites? Or finishing 10 points behind Argentina in qualifying? Are they actually only going to be nearly men? John Cottrell joins us next here on The S Word.
Big name reaction from both sides of the pond. The S Word from talkSPORT. kickoff to the full-time whistle. Don't say the S word. Say the F word. Football. The S word from talkSPORT.
I love our breaks.
Yeah.
Coming back. Welcome to the S word.
Here we go.
Powered by talkSPORT. Thank you for everyone tuning in on YouTube, whether it is on the talkSPORT YouTube channel or on the S word channel, which, if you're not on the S word channel, why don't you give us a follow? Follow us on YouTube.
Slide on over. Follow us there. I'm looking at you, Ignatius. Yes, Ignatius has got into the chat on talkSPORT to say he believes it's possible. He believes America will do well in this tournament. So,
hey, America. Listen, considering what I saw against Senegal, which again wasn't the greatest Senegalese team, I'm a little bit more hopeful. So I'm right there with you. But
guess who they beat last year? Team England at Wembley.
They did.
Let's not forget that.
Yeah, when they went on that incredible unbeaten streak. They're my AFCON champs. Anyways, if you have more opinions like that, leave us in the comments on YouTube. Check us out on WhatsApp, as you can see right there. Give us a call, shoot us a text if you want. On Instagram, give us a follow. On X, and of course, on YouTube. talkSPORT's S word is the handle on all 3 social media platforms. But Will, it is time to continue our World Cup preview, isn't it?
Get into a bit of samba football, bit of Seleção, I believe. I'm delighted to say that joining the show now, football commentator based in Brazil, author of Brazil in the World Cup, the story of Seleção on football's greatest stage, and the soon-to-be-published Rebels, Rogues, Guns and Gids, the wild world of Brazilian football. John Cotterill, how are you, brother?
Wow. I like it. I do like that. Bit of applause. Finally, in my life, I'm getting some applause.
Hey, you deserve it. I mean, we should have gone standing ovation, honestly, but I'm a bit tethered to this desk. I'm not going to lie to you.
Next time.
Listen, how is the mood in Brazil ahead of this World Cup? Just to frame, we all watched the announcement. We all saw the jubilation from certain sects that Neymar made the squad. Are they still feeling buoyed? Are they still feeling positive despite him possibly missing a couple of games?
You know, it's really weird here in Brazil. There's a very kind of a mixed atmosphere. I've got lots of friends who work in the industry, of course, in football, and they all seem very pessimistic. They're all saying this is one of the worst squads that Brazil has had for a long time. We've got no chance. So it's that kind of side from the professional angle of things, but then the general public, if you want to call them that, I think there's a degree of optimism, of course. There always is when Brazil goes into a tournament. Especially, it's kind of weird because especially when they've done badly in the South American qualifiers, they do tend to do well or better in the World Cup itself. Back in 2002, same situation, really, really poor in the qualifiers, went on to win it. So it's a mixed bag. Neymar's a whole different kind of bag, really, because he doesn't just bring the football inside of things when he's available, when he's fit, that is. There's a whole politics around it, the right-wing politics of Brazil, left-wing politics as well, very, very split. It's not a united nation by any stretch of the imagination. So Neymar has a whole circus around him, not just the football, it's a whole media things. So it complicates matters. It takes the pressure off the rest of the Brazil squad and Ancelotti as well. So having him there is kind of good for Brazil, I think. But for my money, he has done absolutely nothing to justify his place in the squad. And I really feel sorry for João Pedro at Chelsea for being left out. And I think it could be the biggest mistake the coach has made.
Biggest mistake. I mean, he's a Brazilian legend. He gives them the flair. He gives the nation that belief, that hope, that, the biggest mistake. I mean, that's pretty bold.
I think he divides people, though, right? Like, he gives some people that hope, but there are
you saw the
people
reaction.
who don't like his politics, who don't like his behaviour, who don't like him aligning himself with certain people.
Absolutely, but you saw the reaction from the Brazilian people. He gives them some sort of familiarity that connects them to the past and hopefully what they can do this year.
Keywords, the past. You just said it. Neymar is the past. He has done nothing in the last 2 years. He's been injured most of the time. He's injured again. He's got a calf injury. I actually saw him up close. I was at, kind of mentioned the Kings League. I was doing a commentary for the Kings League in Brazil in January. He was there because he got a team. It was the international tournament, the World Cup. But he does not look like a professional footballer. He doesn't look like a professional footballer on the pitch. For me, he's just not fit enough. He's not quick enough. I saw Santos in the Sul-Americana just a few weeks ago. against a relatively small team, okay, he pops up with free kicks, but the speed to get past players and elite players, strong and physical players, it's got no chance. No chance whatsoever. And for me, it was a massive, massive shock he was included in the squad. I understand the psychological element of having him there, but why not take him as a part of the coaching staff? Because as a player at the elite level, I think he's not going to be good enough. He might pop up with a free kick if he's fit, but to take on defences and to play the way he used to play, and of course he was a fantastic player, there's no doubt about it. Brazil's last superstar. There's nobody who's been anywhere near that level in recent years. Esteban, who's injured, of course, he's a long way to go before he reaches that level. So he's technically Brazil's best player, but we're talking about the past.
I'll have one more stat for you on the past, okay?
Okay, go on.
In 1970, Mexico hosted the World Cup. The New York Knicks were in the NBA Finals.
Oh, God.
Brazil won the World Cup. In 1994, the U.S. hosted the World Cup. The New York Knicks were in the NBA Finals. Brazil won the World Cup. In 2026, the U.S. and Mexico are hosting the World Cup. The New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals. So
you're saying lump on. That's what you're saying.
Is history about to repeat itself? That is the Brazilian propaganda I'm getting in my group chats right now.
You know, I've noticed something about this, because this phrase, history repeats itself. We hear it a lot. And now I heard something relatively recently on a different radio station, I'm afraid to say. But history does not, I'm sorry about that, but history does not actually repeat itself, because the circumstances are very, very different, which led to certain conclusions. So what you've just been saying is, I'm afraid, completely irrelevant to what's going to happen in this World Cup.
My biggest concern with Brazil, it is the age, and as you're pretty much banking on Carlo Ancelotti having that free flowing 4-3-3 style that obviously he's known for with the fullbacks, and individual talent really needs to shine with the freedom and the ability to express that he allows players to have. But do they have that individual quality in the midfield and then that back line to do so? And I'm hard pressed to find that.
They've got bags of quality in all of it. I suppose maybe down the wings. I think that's one of the big problems. Yes. People are complaining about on both sides, what they call the laterais, the right wing and the left-hand side. Maybe the quality isn't there. Not only pushing forward, but getting back to cover out the wide spaces. So that could be an issue. I think they played Panama at the weekend and they won 6-2 in the Maracanã. First half, so-so. Vinny Jr. scored a goal. Ancelotti made 10 changes at half-time, and it improved things when Paquetá came on and Danilo Santos, the ex-Forest player as well. But it's Panama we're talking about. With respect to Panama, 6-2, it doesn't tell you anything, really. Creativity, somebody to put the foot on the ball might be an issue. Of course, that was Neymar's old role. So have you got that kind of player who can do that kind of thing, to look around, to have the vision, just to calm things down a little bit? Brazil may not have that when the pressure is on. That is the issue, as you rightly pointed out.
Well, Rodrigo's injury kind of really hurts them here, because he was trying to fill in that role, and whether it be Rafinha, whether it be Vinny, a lot of questions still to find out who's going to be the person, who's going to be the straw that stirs the drink for Brazil.
I'm intrigued as well by the Morocco matchup in particular, because I think when you start off with arguably your toughest group stage game, that can set the tone for the whole tournament. If I know that Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia, I know that these things happen and you can have these wild situations, but I feel like for the Brazilian nation in particular, go out there, beat them, top the group, suddenly everyone is feeling buoyed and you get a much easier route to the final in theory. I do feel like if they don't get a result in that, things could turn quickly.
It is one of those things, isn't it, about Brazil in particular. But I think it's the same for all the international sides. It's all about the confidence and the atmosphere that's going on. So, yeah, you don't want to lose your first game. The chances of Brazil losing against Morocco, okay, there's always a possibility, but I don't think they will lose that game. They're going to play Egypt at the weekend, the final warm-up matches as well. So similar type of opposition perhaps. But yeah, to win the first game will set the tone. But it's not just for Brazil, it's the same for every single team in this competition. They're all going to face the same kind of pressures. You don't want to lose your first game. That is principle number one on your list, of course. To win the first match, yeah, as you rightly said, it sets the tone. And then you've got Haiti to follow, and then Scotland, of course, in the last group game as well. So within a relatively short space. So, yeah, they've got to, if they could win it, which they probably should do, then great. But things turn very, very quickly here, I'm afraid. So it's all about confidence.
One man who didn't make the Brazil squad is Ederson, the Atalanta midfielder, who looks like he's headed for Manchester United around a €40 million deal. John, you'll have seen him in the times he has appeared regularly for Brazil and followed his career. What is the Premier League getting in this player?
Well, I mean, he's got 3 caps for Brazil, according to my notes down here. It's a big bundle. He's going to bring some kind of physicality into the midfield. Interestingly, he started off at Desportivo Brazil, which many, many moons ago had a connection with Manchester United. It was their idea of getting players from South America and having a kind of a school or academy in Brazil, in the region. Didn't work out in the end, but he was there, then joined Cruzeiro and Corinthians for a while before moving off to Italy. So you're getting a bundle. Is he going to be a Premier League player? I mean, the problem is, of course, there's all these things, all these players who come in, you never know what's going to happen. You can do all the background research, you can tick all the boxes, everything you can possibly do until the guy or girl arrives. You will never know what you're going to get, really. But potentially, it's there. 26, it's a decent age, 34 million quids. For that price, you should be getting someone decent. So it can bring in some physicality. As I say, only 3 caps for Brazil, out of the picture at the moment, but Man United could have someone who potentially could be a decent signing.
John, brilliant stuff. I mentioned your books earlier, also in that new Netflix documentary as well. So look, John Cottrell's everywhere. Check him, follow him out on social. He's brilliant. We really appreciate your time.
Another round of applause. Come on.
Oh, thank you very much.
One for the road.
Beautiful. The great John Cottrell joining us on the S Word here on talkSPORT. That group with Morocco, Haiti and Scotland. How
you feeling? Who do you think is going to win that group?
Look, I still think Brazil should win that group. I do think
Jim.
If Morocco upset them in that opening game, then even with a draw, I would kind of fancy them. My concern is more for Scotland, because they have Haiti in the opening game, right? I think there's a lot of talk of, but Scotland could qualify third in the group. You only need to finish third. I think unless you go out and you hammer Haiti, a Haitian team who conceded 4 goals over the weekend to New Zealand. This is not a team who are expected to pull up trees by any stretch of the imagination.
No, they won 4-0.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they won.
I misread that.
They won 4-0.
A team who beat New Zealand 4-0 this weekend, and people are assuming Scotland are going to... We can just take that out right later. That'll be fine. Listen,
1-1 against Iceland before that. They lost 1-0 to Tunisia. Hey, don't count on Haiti.
My point is that if they finish third in this group, they would have to score a hatful of goals against Haiti to make sure that they've got the goal difference to be able to qualify as one of those best place, third place groups, because it's going to be so tight. Some of those third place teams that will get through on 1 point or 3 points, but they will have a better goal difference than everyone else. And I just think that, I don't know, I'm starting to kind of fancy Scotland to not make it out of the group, despite the fact that 3 teams get out of a lot of the groups.
If I see Group C as it is right now, 8 days before the World Cup, I think Morocco wins this group. I like what I saw from them last night. I think Brazil finishes second. I think Haiti finishes third. And Scotland finishes at the bottom of Group C.
I'm backing Scotland to finish third because of all of the nonsense that the Haitians have had to deal with. They're going to have to arrive so late into America, all the visa stuff.
They'll be fine. Sapasse, Namboule. They're going to be just fine. They got so many Haitian people there. I mean, they played last night in Chase Stadium. They played in Miami, which obviously is basically a home field advantage for Haiti. They're going to be just fine. Haiti is a country that people are sleeping on here in the UK, but they're going to get tremendous support everywhere they go across the East Coast. And I promise you, as many Scottish fans that I'm sure we're going to see, I would not be surprised if you see as many red and blue Haitian fans all across the group stage in Group C. So, yeah, that could easily be a 1-1 draw. It could be a very physical game. And again, Haiti's another country that knows how to deal with the conditions in North America. They are built to withstand whatever humidity, heat, temperature situation that they have to come across. So I don't sleep on Haiti. I think a lot of people here are underestimating Haiti and a lot of these CONCACAF nations. Panama, we've seen them taking some shots as well. Don't sleep on CONCACAF. Trust me. You will get CONCACAF'd, as we like to say it in North America. You will get CONCACAF'd, and it will catch you off guard, And Haiti and Panama are two nations that are more than capable of doing it.
There won't be a single CONCACAF team in the quarterfinals. That's my hot take off the back of what you've just said.
That's fine.
Stop shouting breaking my ear.
Scotland will be in knockout stage.
We got Philip Cardenas joining us in the second hour. We'll talk some Paraguay with him and some more of the Group D and C action. But up next, we do turn our attention to Group D, to America, and to a man who is there, entrenched with the USMNT.
Come on!
Paul Tenorio joins the show.
Come on!
Next.
From the touchline to the terraces, talkSPORT presents The S Word. presents The S Word. Get your full-on football fix from across the football galaxy. The S Word from talkSPORT.
New England Wilderness gets in touch on the chat and says he thinks the USMNT are going to make the quarterfinals of the World Cup.
Come on, the optimism is flowing. The red, white, and blue is right here in my freaking veins.
He's also got England go to the semi-finals, so maybe he's delusional. Who knows?
But you know, hey, I like the beam of positivity coming in the comments.
Patio Joe is back again. He's saying soccer will flourish in the States once the club model or pay-for-play is changed. Well, kind of semi-optimism.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I agree.
And our good friend SM is back up in the chat as well. We love it. The community is building. We're going to be massive by the time we get to the World Cup, guys. We are just 8 days away.
So many great other announcements to make too as we lead up to the World Cup. Unlike Will, I'm not going to break company line.
Excuse me?
Huh?
When have I ever done that?
Huh?
It is time to turn our attention to Group D, and it is time to see if that optimism permeates into the USMNT cap off the back of their win over Senegal this week. Please clip him doing that. A man who is in the camp with Mauricio Pochettino's side and has also written a new book called The Messi Effect. It is the great Paul Tenorio joining the show.
Big Paul, baby. How you doing, man?
How are you, brother?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man. From the Washington Post alum to another, it is great to see you shining. Congratulations on the Messi Effect book. What led you to write this book, and what's been the reception so far?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not very often that American soccer is at the center of the sports universe, both globally and even just domestically. And so when I went down to Fort Lauderdale in the summer of 2023, when Messi signed and hundreds of media members were coming in from all over the world, there was a helicopter flying overhead. I knew it was a special story, and I knew it was something that I wanted to tell. And over the next 6 months, as I covered that first half of a season for Messi in MLS, I started to think about a story I've wanted to tell for a long time about kind of where American soccer is today, how it's gotten there, to communicate to people that like soccer has made it in America, and then where MLS needs to go in order to be more relevant, to be able to compete with the big domestic sports leagues, but also to be more relevant in the global soccer ecosystem. And this was an opportunity to tell that story. So, I feel very fortunate that I got a chance to do it, and that this book is out there in the world now. And it's been amazing to see so much support from so many of my friends and colleagues, so many readers out there who have reached out and sent me pictures of the book that they bought yesterday or that arrived at their house yesterday. It's out in the world now. I think, Master, like when you write a story and you publish it, you put it out there, like that first few hours when the story's in the world, it's like a different level of, a different way to kind of like sit with it. So I'm going through that right now with an 800,000 word story.
I'm about to say, I have written a book, so I don't know about
it's
that.
A little bit
feeling.
of a different beast.
I can imagine. But my copy's on the way. I'll go pick it up in LA when I'm there for USA Paraguay.
I love it.
I'm incredibly happy for you, and obviously a big fan of your work and how you cover American soccer and, of course, U.S. men's national team. And let's lock in with this in Group D.
I was going to say, surely you're going to be seeing him in SoFi in a week's time.
Yeah, well, we saw each other at the Nations League when I was there. What was it, last year? I think it was when we were out in L.A.
Yeah, last March. We went and got some dinner. It was great.
Yeah, we did. It was a fantastic time. Again, Post alumni, especially now more than ever. The Washington Post alumni, we got to stick together. But Paul does an amazing job covering U.S. men's national team, and let's get into the nitty gritty with Group D. We saw their performance against Senegal, the friendly. I know Senegal had some players that were missing, and Pochettino did some different changes in the starting 11. We didn't see Weston McKennie in that lineup. Was that a harbinger of things to come for Team USA?
I think so. I think it was a positive sign for this team that has been looking for optimism and positive signs after the way that March went. I think what's interesting is the system that they ran in this game, where they're building out of a 3 with two traditional center backs and Alex Freeman as that third center back, defending in a 4, and you have Serginho Dest playing this kind of hybrid wing back winger position. That's the way that this team played in the fall when they had their best results, right? When they beat Uruguay and they beat Paraguay and they beat Australia and they went on this run of unbeaten games. And then in March, they went away from that system and they tested other things. Christian Pulisic played as a 9. They played more of a 4-2-3-1. That felt like more experimentation against Belgium and Portugal, and they lose both of those games. So I think it was a big positive to play the system that we thought after the fall would be the system, and for there to again be a really strong performance from this team, and especially on the attacking end. Things look like they're clicking, they look like they're flowing, and they look like that despite the fact that, to your point, it was Ricardo Pepi and not Flo Balogun in the starting lineup. It was Gio Reyna and not Weston McKennie in the starting lineup. It was Sebastian Berhalter, not Malik Tillman in the starting lineup. So there were these changes that were happening, and yet this team connected really well together. And those guys who came on in the second half, by the way, also looked very good in the system. So reason for U.S. fans to start getting excited for sure.
How do you feel about the draw? How do you feel about the opening game against Paraguay? Like, this feels like a group which, if the USA get ahead of steam up, it's winnable. You've missed a European giant, you've missed a South American giant. Like, this feels like a group you can get not just out of, but potentially progress at top of.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think it is down to that first game. As all tournaments are, the first game you need a result, but I think it's about kind of getting some momentum of being the home team. That's the X factor that we haven't really thought about or talked about because we're not used to it with the U.S. men's national team. When they play in these NFL stadiums, it's usually against Mexico, and it's usually 80-20 Mexican fans in those finals. And whether the U.S. gets a result or not, that's something that they've had to learn to fight through. We've seen it maybe on a smaller scale, I think, especially of the Cincinnati U.S.-Mexico qualifier back in 2021. That was just an incredible atmosphere. But Christian Pulisic talked about it the other night that, playing in front of 57,000 in Charlotte in a very pro-USA crowd energized them early in the game. And I think that's going to be critical at SoFi against a very good Paraguay team, by the way, who played well in South American qualifying. They're not going to be an easy out. And that's kind of the interesting part of this group. With the U.S. being in pot one, they did avoid the biggest teams, but they didn't get any of the minnows either. This is a very evenly matched group. When you look at where these teams rank, both in the FIFA rankings and in the ELO rankings, they're the smallest band between the highest ranked and the lowest ranked team of any group in the World Cup. So while they avoided the big teams that you'd say, oh, they're definitely not going to win that game, they have three very difficult matchups in Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey for the U.S. This is not an American team that can afford to look at pretty much any team and say, oh, we can beat them. And I think that's the case here, but they should be expected to win this group. They're at home against teams around their level. They should win the group.
I think they should too. But I feel like every day I wake up and I'm like, maybe they finished second, maybe they finished third. When Pochettino released the roster and I didn't see Diego Luna on there, they're going to finish last. Like that gets us. It like you said, even the odds makers show that this is.
He's been here in Britain for too long, Paul. I apologise. Our pessimism has seeped into his soul, I'm afraid.
But if he was truly British, the pessimism would just be a small layer on top of the "it's coming home" belief. So we gotta make sure we pepper it with that.
You know that's all irony, right? I'm just double checking.
They'd say it's irony.
Listen, I work a lot with the Athletic UK. I don't feel very much irony about it. I feel real belief, okay?
Like they say, every joke is masking a truth. So I think that's what they're going for.
Right,
but
that's right.
I guess the emotional ups and downs as a fan, when you see Matt Crocker leaving 2 months before the World Cup and going to Saudi Arabia, you see Pochettino not doing his best in terms of just displaying a message that really can instill hope in the fan base. Then you see this roster coming out. And then you see that performance. It's just, I'm emotionally all over the place as an American fan right now. And it's almost just, let me get to the first game, because the more this thing drags on, the more I'm just unsure how they're going to perform.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Like in the lead up to this camp, I was asked by a lot of fans, like, what's going to happen? Or even for casuals, when I get in the back of an Uber or something, they ask what I do and the World Cup comes up, are they going to be great? Are they going to be terrible? I don't know. It's kind of like, it feels like it's one or the other. I feel like there's not a lot of in between, because the expectations around this team are so high, just kind of historically, considering it's a home World Cup and everything that was talked about with the golden generation. There is like this belief, like I heard you guys talking about some of the people who are commenting, of going to a quarterfinal or going to a semifinal and being able to do that. And if they're ever going to do it, this is the moment. And then there's the recent history of the team going back to the Copa America in 2024 when they fell flat on their face. And which one are you going to get? And I do really believe that the X factor is going to be the home World Cup portion of this, right? Like, host countries do well at World Cups. And I do think that this team, if they play in front of a big home crowd at SoFi, which TBD, because they haven't sold out the opener yet because FIFA's prices are outrageous. But if they do have this huge crowd behind them, they have the quality, they have the talent on the attacking end. They do have to fix some things in the back line. There are some big question marks in goal, which is not a normal thing to say when you're a U.S. men's national team fan. But on the attacking end of the field, they can score goals. They can be dangerous. So it is this very weird dynamic now for U.S. men's national team fans of like, wanting to believe, wanting to just kind of push everything out into the middle of the table, but having this like enormous fear that it'll be another Copa America and like trying to protect against the pain. I get it. I'm covering this team. I wish I could tell you with certainty, oh, no, like I'm 100% sure they're going to go this way. Like, no, like this team has been very up and down over this entire cycle, really.
Tell us a little bit about being in and around that camp, that brilliant new facility in Atlanta. What the vibes are like? Have you noticed particular players seeming very casual? What Pochettino's approach has been like? How's everyone been feeling?
The players are great. They seem happy. They seem relaxed, but also I think they are shouldering the pressures. The idea that like they know that they are expected to go deep into this World Cup, but you forget that these guys, a lot of them have grown up together. Like I'm staying in the same town as where the US is right now. And like you go to like the coffee shop the other day and I bump into Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Christian Pulisic getting coffee together. You just see them like pop out of the coffee shop. So, I think there is a level of when you're with your clubs and you're away from the US for a long time, being back in the US, being with people that you know really well, I think that helps the camaraderie of this team and being together for a long time, which you don't typically get with the U.S. men's national team. It's been these shorter 10, 11-day windows for them. The interesting part is Pochettino and his staff. I think there is confidence, but I can see the pressure starting to build as we get closer to the tournament. They know the stakes. They want to win really badly. That's been very clear in kind of how they operate. I think some people have said, oh, well, obviously the reports of the interview with AC Milan and there's interest around Pochettino and there always has been. He wants to do well at this World Cup. It's clearly meaningful for him to have a good performance and to show well. And I'm starting to see that a little bit more from the coaching staff of, feeling the pressure creep in ahead of the tournament.
Is that about his reputation as much as it is about how much he cares about the job?
Of course, but I think also it's like for him, he said this when he first got hired, and he said this when I've spoken with him one-on-one, like it's a dream to be able to coach in a World Cup. He's from Murphy, Argentina. He says all the time, like, I don't compare myself to anyone else because like everything I've done coming from where I was born and grew up in Argentina is amazing. And it meant a lot to him to go to the World Cup in 2002. He missed out on that 98 team with Argentina, goes in 2002, and they get knocked out in the group stage. And he talked about after that tournament feeling sick, literally sick. He locked himself in his room for over a week. He says he lost a ton of weight. He was super depressed about what happened at that World Cup. And so I think to some degree, to some level, being back on this stage as a manager now, he wants to have a more positive World Cup experience. And he knows that he's got an opportunity with the host nation that is a very rare one. So he's wearing that right now. And he, I think, to some degree, he tries to be light and positive in press conferences, but when you're around him all the time, you can see that he really has this kind of want to have this World Cup go well.
He better make it out of the group stage. That's all I know.
I just want to know if you want to break some news for us right now and tell us what the coffee order is for Weston McKennie, Tyler Adam or Christian Pulisic. Any of them going anything wild? Are we just straight up lattes all round?
They came in and I snuck out. I try to keep my space when I can from them.
That's how they
Such a professional.
When we was at the Washington Post, you stay objective. You be cordial, but you be professional. And that's why Paul Tenura is one of the most professional, one of the best we have in the country.
I can tell you I had a nice latte, though. It was very nice.
It's astonishing that the two of you come from the same place, let's be honest.
Yeah, trust me, there's a lot of people at the Washington Post that still wonder that, or in the American media industry.
Paul, check out Paul's new book, The Messi Effect. If you do want to read more, we talk so much about it on this show. And we really appreciate your time, Paul. We hope to speak to you more as the tournament goes on. Beautiful stuff.
Let's do it.
Paul Tenorio joining us here from The Athletic here on the S Word.
You don't think there's other people wearing do-rags at the Washington Post? You think it was just me?
I didn't say anything about the do-rag. It's all about your professionality. I was just,
Hey, you think I'm very professional.
We can bring it into this. What are you trying to paint? What kind of light are you trying to paint me in right now, Master? This is a disgrace. It shall break in my ear again. This needs to be addressed right here, right now, before my reputation gets besmirched.
This is an ally we're talking about here.
It's been a long morning. Right, we've got an hour left of the show. We've got a great last hour coming up. Flex is in the studio, bringing in the energy. We've got Felipe Cardenas. I mean, basically part of the show, part of the furniture at this point to talk Paraguay and talk about the people who are going to be challenging the USA in this group. And we'll do some transfer talk as well here on the S Word. Yeehaw.
The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion from talkSPORT. S-Word, featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian. And a squad of big-name contributors. The S-Word from talkSPORT.
Hour 2 of the S-Word, 9 a.m. Eastern. Good morning to all our friends out in the good
morning, America.
Flex is joining us in the studio. Coming up shortly, we'll talk some Manchester United transfer news with Ederson headed to Old Trafford. Is he simply Fred 2.0? Yes. And we're going to talk some South American football coming up momentarily with Felipe Cardenas, our favourite, our most regular guest on the show, as he demands to be on at least once a week. He's just knocking on our door constantly, just pounding down our DMs and desperate to get on air, and we love him for it. We're also going to talk some transfers this hour, and we might talk a little bit about the schedule as well, because Masters just made the claim he is going to watch all 104 games of this World Cup.
Look, I want to show you.
And I simply said, I'm going to fall asleep to a lot of games of this World Cup.
Look, every single match.
It's in his calendar.
It's in my calendar. Every single. And there's a.
Have you copy and pasted that in, or have you gone through one by one and added that?
I did all that. And
surely you could just get a downloadable calendar to do that. Surely
each
someone
night
could do it
match
for you.
Has a little moon.
It does have a little moon.
So I know when
just to remind you of what?
That I'm not going to sleep.
That it's night time.
Yes.
Is that all? Our show is on from 8 till 10 a.m. Eastern, from 1 till 3
Rise
p.m.
and grind,
in the UK.
baby.
There will be some games here in the UK at 5 a.m, so I'm excited to see it. But as Immortal Cop says on Twitter, if you can't be there for South Korea versus Czech Republic at 3 a.m, don't you dare be there for France-Senegal at 8 p.m.
We're up every single night. No sleep. 3 a.m., 5 a.m. We're watching every single match.
You like that?
Yes.
You like that?
Of this World Cup. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. We're just built different. USA. All the way.
And all 104 are live on talkSPORT.
Yeah.
Or talkSPORT 2. Or the talkSPORT app.
Yeah.
The talkSPORT network has
Tune in, baby.
you covered. Particularly here on the S-Word, where we're going to keep our group stage previews going, and we're going to keep chatting Group D because Paul Tenorio gave us a very USMNT heavy preview of that. We need to know about the teams they're going to be facing, starting off with Paraguay in that first game, and that means the man, the myth, the legend, part of the furniture around here, and I mean that as an absolute compliment. Felipe Cardenas.
Come on. I know how you felt when he said about the furniture stuff.
Hey.
But,
I know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful
Thank you for accepting the invite. I sent an invite. It's just you just hit accept, and you immediately invite me to the show every week. So I appreciate that.
Well, who else is going to help us break down Group D and get us to understand not just the U.S. perspective, but we have to understand the other three teams in this group. And we're going to start with Paraguay. CONMEBOL. A squad, of course, that the U.S. faced. The U.S. was able to win 1-0. What can you tell us about this Paraguayan side? And, of course, we know Miguel Almiron is a name that a lot of people will probably know that will be on this team.
I think, especially when you look at Group D, the expectations that the U.S. is going to win this group. But at the same time, when you look at it, every team can beat each other, right? It's a very even group. And I think Paraguay is one of those teams that I don't want to say people are sleeping on them, but certainly here in the States, they're not being talked about a lot because a lot of the fanfare has been about Australia not being a football nation, Turkey being the difficult game, and the U.S. just needing to deal with the expectations around that team. But Paraguay, meanwhile, I think is primed for a spoiler role in this group. And I think to understand where they are today, you have to go back 2 years ago to find out where they were then. In 2024, the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying kicks off. They have a new manager who has never coached internationally, which is Guillermo Barros Esqueloto. Anyone who watches Argentine football will remember him as a star for Boca Juniors. And he loses the first two games. The first three rounds, they're immediately in the basement, fired. Then the Copa America comes and they bring in another Argentine manager. And many of the former World Cup stars in Paraguay are saying, we don't need Argentines to coach this team. They go to Copa America 0 for 3. Okay? 0 for 3. So what do? They hire away Costa Rica's manager at the Copa America, which is Gustavo Alfaro, another Argentine, who took Ecuador to the 2022 World Cup, became a legend in that country because he instilled this fighting mentality. And that's where they are now. He took them through CONMEBOL qualifying. The first 9 games under Alfaro, they were unbeaten. They beat Argentina. They beat Brazil. They took Colombia in Colombia to a 2-2 draw where the Colombians were like, please, referee, blow the whistle. Let's get out of here. And so I think what he did, Alfaro did, he brought back this warrior mentality. There's a phrase in Paraguay, which is essentially win or die. It sounds a lot more poetic in Spanish, but it is essentially we win or we die. And he brought that back. They only conceded 7 goals in 12 games. And now this team that he's bringing to the U.S. for this World Cup, 15 of the 26 play in South America. So he's bringing back, I think, that really rugged, streetwise player, veteran team. And obviously you mentioned Miguel Almirón, who's now one of the captains, one of the veteran squad, or the veterans in that squad, but he does have some interesting pieces like Julio Enciso, Diego Gomez, who I think could be a breakout star at this World Cup. So a really tricky game for the U.S. to start, and a team that I think is flying under the radar, just where they want to be.
Do you actually think, I mean, if we are talking about, these great physical side, defensive structure, going to go there, maybe some dark arts as well mixed in, like, is there a feeling that there is a big trap game that actually Mauricio Pochettino can break this side down with what he's got for the USMNT?
I think it's the ideal. I mean, not ideal for the U.S., but it is the sort of the quintessential trap game because, first of all, like Master mentioned, they played each other in November. It was actually a 2-1 win for the U.S. But what came out of that game was Gustavo Alfaro telling in his post-match interview, essentially breaking down tactically what he saw from the U.S., what their strengths were, what Paraguay had to adjust to, which in his words were they had to be a lot quicker. They were playing 3-touch in the midfield. The U.S. was playing 2-touch. It was faster. They were more fluid. And then once Alfaro made some adjustments in midfield, you saw a team in Paraguay that understood the assignment, that understood who they were playing, where they were playing. That game was in the West Coast. Actually, that game was in Philadelphia. And I think what he came out saying is like, okay, now we scheduled the U.S. because we figure this is a team that we could play at the World Cup. So they've been studying the U.S. now for several months. And I think they came out of that friendly thinking, all right, we know who they are. We know how they play. They're going to press us throughout the pitch. And something to your point that Gustavo Alfaro said is like, we can't be thinking that we can play out of the back and we're going to keep the ball. If we need to play second ball, we will do that because we have strikers that can win those balls and we can battle upfield. So that's the type of game I think you're going to see. But they have dangerous attackers as well.
I think if you've been given that honour of the opening game against the host nation, you are out there for blood. You are baying for it. I feel an upset on that on the cards.
He's just talking noise right now. But I do think Paraguay is going to be a difficult match. Thank you for the correction on that. For some reason, someone decided to call me as I was giving you this nice little soliloquy about Paraguay. But yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of good players. You didn't mention Omar Alderete as well. Sunderland, He had a really good season this year as well. So they're going to be a tough side to break down for the United States. And with all the pomp and prestigiousness of that opening match that you would expect for the host nation, Paraguay could come in and just punch them in the face.
Yeah, and I've spoken to Miguel Almirón and Matias Galarza, 2 players that are on the squad. They're playing here in MLS with Atlanta United, and they both said the same thing. For us, it's a final. Remember, they're back at the World Cup for the first time since 2010. Miguel Almirón was a 16-year-old, and that 2010 team, they're legends in their country, and so is Tata Martino, the Argentine coach who took them to the quarterfinals. They lose a heartbreaker, an absolute heartbreaker to Spain in South Africa, and then Spain obviously goes on to win the World Cup. But that team was built, I wouldn't say similarly, but they had the same attitude. You know, they any team that they faced, they thought that they could win, they could beat, and that was lost before Alfaro came to Paraguay. Paraguay in South America is always that team you don't want to play. You're not sure. You know, they're going to bring that streetwise football. And if you look at the back line, you mentioned Alderete, left footer, which is so key to have in central defense as left footer, and then next to him, Gabriel Gomez, the Palmeiras. Now, he's been captain at Palmeiras for several seasons now. Just these 2 guys that, I mean, you don't want to run into them, I think, in a dark alley. And that's the attitude I think they'll bring. But I think they also want the world to know, like, we can play football. We can score goals. And they look at that final as honestly, win or go home.
I kind of feel like this whole group feels, outside of the USMNT, like it is going to be physical, hard-fought, battling. Like, I mean, you'll have studied through the whole group and obviously have ties with the USMNT as well as Paraguay. What do you make of the group as a whole? What do you make of the challenges elsewhere? And who do you back to come out on top?
I mean, listen, here in the U.S., I've been on this show before. The U.S. team is really dividing, I think, the fan base. I think now with the recent win over Senegal, things start to turn in their favor. But, it's not like the most likable team. I think they're a team that's going to, like, personality-wise, they're going to have to win over the mass audience here in the United States. But I do think that the U.S. will have a positive first round. So that means I do expect them to win the group. But it's not going to be easy. You mentioned it, like, they open with Paraguay, which is a team that wants to make history at this World Cup, that wants to spoil the party for the Americans. Then they play Australia, which, again, Australia and the U.S. played earlier as well in the late last year. And Australia went into that game and said, let's see if the Americans can really play physically. And the first thing they did was kick Christian Pulisic several times until the game got a little bit out of hand the first half. It got even. The U.S. figured it out and walk away with a hard-fought win. But again, two teams that they've already played, to me, that's not a benefit for the U.S. If anything, it's a benefit for the two opposition teams in Paraguay and Australia, thinking we know what to expect. If they can handle the momentum that the LA crowd is going to give the U.S. in that first game, and then the Seattle crowd will be fully behind the U.S. against Australia. If they can just weather the storm and be tricky and a bit streetwise and maybe some dark arts, those games are going to be tricky. And then obviously we're looking at Turkey as probably the team that everyone has sort of separated as the most talented team in the group. But if we know anything about Turkish football, we're not sure what to expect on the biggest stage. So it is just a wide open group, I think.
Paraguay, as you mentioned, very favorable travel schedule. They'll be based in the Bay Area. The first match that they have, obviously, the U.S. will be in Los Angeles, but their next two group stage matches in the Bay Area as well. So a tremendous setup that they have. Going to Turkey, though, based in Arizona, first match is in Vancouver against Australia. Then they play Paraguay in the Bay Area and then finish up in LA against the United States. We know these two sides faced off against each other right before the Gold Cup. It was obviously a different roster for probably both teams, but particularly for the U.S. But we saw the Turkish fan base really show up in droves in that match. And despite the U.S. scoring in the first minute, we saw Turkey pretty much dominate the game at that point. Is there much to take away from that friendly, knowing that a lot of the players that we're seeing in the starting 11 weren't participating?
I think so. I think you can still take plenty away. I mean, it's pretty, I don't know how historic this is, that a group is, these teams that are matched up have all played each other over the last year. I mean, that's pretty interesting to me. And again, it just sets up for, I think these games are going to be very, very tactical because the coaches have spent months studying and probably overstudying and overthinking how to approach these games. And then, of course, you have what's going to happen before they play each other, right? Like, what's the result in USA Paraguay? How does that change what happens when the US plays Australia? The fact that Australia and Turkey are the opening match for those respective teams, like how does that set Turkey up? How does it set up Australia? Can Australia surprise the group, get a draw, and really throw that group out of sorts? So, I agree. I think the Turkish side, when you watch them in the European playoffs, you're like, surely they'll get out of here. They will qualify. And I think they showed a side that is, I wouldn't say atypical of a Turkish national team, but certainly they were able to keep the ball, dominate possession, and play against a really tricky opponent, qualify really in the last gasp, and get to this tournament. All this team wanted was to get to this tournament knowing they have really good young players. I think a solid base, an underrated manager in Vicente Montella, the former Italian great, Roma great. This is a manager I think wants to make history for himself too. So just tons of storylines in Group D. And I think, again, a wide open group that will really, I think, align itself after the opening two matches of that group.
Felipe, come on then. On the line. How's this finishing? Because Master keeps making me do this. So
doing what?
What's your four? Who's first to fourth in this group?
I'm going to put the U.S. on top because I've already put it in writing. I think the U.S. will win the group. I can't change. It's just like, hey,
that's the joy of doing these things, Felipe, is that you come on here, you do in different order, and then when everyone tells you you're wrong in print, you go, actually, and then you just show them this clip. That's,
I did that with Arsenal winning the Premier League. I said they weren't going to win, and then I had shit.
Hey, I have England winning the World Cup. Immediately after the draw in December, I was like, England's winning the World Cup. My London colleagues were like, you are crazy.
Yeah.
But that's I'm sticking to that. I think the U.S. wins the group really tight. I think it'll be tight with the Turkish national team, Turkey right there behind them, and Paraguay getting that really elusive third spot. But Paraguay could finish second. I mean, they could honestly get results to be that close. But I think it'll be U.S., Turkey, and Paraguay.
I think U.S. does finish first. I think I'm going Paraguay second. I think I am. I think their feistiness, the capabilities that they have to punch people in the face. I think
very well coached too.
Very well coached. Where Turkey, you're pretty much banking on the youth from Yildiz and Arda Güler, who obviously are tremendous, to really make up for some of the aging veterans that they have, and from defensively, I don't know how disciplined they will be as well. So I'd probably put Turkey third and then Australia fourth, which it could be flipped over for all I know, the way this group looks.
I'm going Turkey first.
I agree.
Turkey first?
Yeah, why not?
Why?
USA second, Paraguay third. Paraguay are going to punch you in the mouth in the first game, but then struggle in their next two.
They're going to get 3 points?
You're going to drop points. You'll drop points against them.
Okay, I'm about to say, if they win 3 points, it's going to be hard for them to finish third.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the problem with the third place qualifying nonsense that we've got in this World Cup.
It's fantastic. Why do
we decide to expand it? More matches in the group stage than there have been in any World Cup all time. It's wild. It's wild.
That's what I'm Felipe.
I love that we finished with Felipe just giving a thumbs down to.
Thank you.
I don't know whether it was to scheduling or to me. I'm not sure.
No. It's the third place issue at this World Cup. It's just not a fan.
You say that now until third place teams are upsetting people in the knockout stage, and then we'll celebrate them like we did with Curacao. We were all complaining about how big this tournament was, and what a great story Cape Verde is. Let me tell you about Cape Verde. Let me tell you about Curacao. Let me tell you about Haiti. You can't have it one way or the other. Do you hate these clubs, or do you hate these nations, or do you want to celebrate them?
Sorry. Just
the privilege of a big nation that never wins anything.
Apparently going to win the World Cup, according to Felipe. Brilliant stuff. As always, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, Felipe.
Like the last
on the show. He's an absolute hero. Let's get back into the chat on YouTube. You can get it via talkSPORT. Ideally, go on the S Word. Give us a subscribe. Go and watch some other videos when we're finished here today as well. Eleanor says USA will be lucky to finish third. Turkey have some of the most informed and intellectual midfielders in this tournament.
They do.
Paraguay was a surprise package. He also says Spurs in 5. Go Spurs.
Oh, that's disgusting. This is a lose-lose NBA Finals for me. So
Surely if it's lose-lose, you want it to be done. Just let someone just whitewash somebody. Let's have a 4-0 and let's get out of here as quick as possible.
But I don't
Let's
care.
get it done before the World Cup starts.
I don't care for the Knicks. I don't care for NBA Knicks fans. And I'm from Dallas, so I hate the Spurs. So it's absolute lose-lose. I'll be watching those. It should be entertaining for the neutral.
Nick on the S Word channel does say his final is Spain-France. He's got Spain winning it 3-2. Third place playoff, England-Argentina 2-1. I mean, I hate the third place playoff. It's the most pointless game in world football.
It'd be the first medal you see as an English national member. Like it's supporting England.
Heartbreaking. Can't believe you say these things to me. Yeah. Flex joins the show up next as we move to domestic football, talk some Man United transfer action.
Speaking of someone that hasn't seen much winning.
Unbelievable.
Bringing all the biggest football debates stateside. The S Word from talkSPORT. talkSPORT presents the S Word. High energy exchanges, fiery fan reactions, and the biggest football debate. The S Word from talkSPORT.
I forgot you were opening on me, even though you came in and told me. I'm so sorry. Why but on me? I'm the least attractive man in here, and that's, it's saying something because I set a high bar.
Please clip that, Gav.
Master Test Fatsin alongside myself, Will Gavin. This is
What's
the
happening?
S Word, breaching that gap between the North American soccer fan and the British Football Society that is talkSPORT. We've got all 104 games of the World Cup coming up. We're going to be continuing our group previews coming up tomorrow. We'll turn it to, I guess we're doing both E and F tomorrow. I'm just assuming. Looking at the other side of the glass, getting absolutely nothing back. That's really useful. Thank you, guys.
You got something back.
And we got some, and we got some big guests coming up over the course of the rest of this week as well. Loads to get into. But in the meantime, let's do some transfer news. And let's just catch up with one of our favourites on the show, because it looks like Ederson is going to Man United. And Flex has deigned to grace us with his presence. Flex, how are you, brother?
I like that word.
He got himself in,
I'm happy to get the call up again.
You'll be here anytime.
After last time, I don't know, man.
It's been on D&D.
Been kind of, the Arsenal thing, and sometimes you get angry, and I was happy that I was allowed back.
You were in London on Sunday, right?
I was in London moving freely.
Your life was ruined by the parade, from what I heard.
Well, apparently this is what Arsenal fans tried to tell us, that we all wouldn't be able to move freely, and be careful if you come to London, everything's going to be locked off. I took my car and drove the way I always drove.
You did? Yeah.
And, I was cool, yeah.
You didn't see anything? Nothing in particular?
I saw a couple of red shirts going to the train stations to go where it would be packed, but all the rest of London was fine. So
a million people running up. Hopefully someday you'll get to see that too.
Here we go.
See? Maybe someday.
Here we go.
Maybe Ederson will
I just say to them, act like they've been there before. I just want you to act like you've done it before.
No, it's been 22 years. Why? Because guess what? When it's your turn, you're not going to be acting like you've been there before either.
We will.
No,
we won't be doing things like you lot have been doing. Like,
what's that?
We've had the biggest ever this, and we're the biggest that. And even now, actually, we might be bigger than this team now. We might be bigger than this. No, you're not. You're a Premier League champion. Enjoy it. Stop involving the other clubs.
No one's involving y'all. Y'all are involving yourselves.
No, you are.
No, y'all are involving yourselves.
No,
Chelsea fans are involving themselves.
Don't do this.
You were probably.
Oh no, you and Chelsea. No, I'll give you that one. You and Chelsea, because that's the biggest in London thing.
But listen,
Liverpool and Man, I can't even believe I'm saying this.
Liverpool.
Leave us and Liverpool alone.
Liverpool been chilling.
Leave us alone.
Liverpool been chilling.
We're the two giants of English football.
No,
that's not you.
That is not true. No, that is not true.
It is true.
Look at Adidas now. They're not dropping the same drops that they once used to for y'all. All right, we didn't surpass
the Culture Club.
Hey,
see,
because you know
Merch FC. No, you go into kits and market a bit. We're talking about
the biggest institutions. We're talking about how big this is.
Who's the two biggest institutions in English football?
Arsenal, Man United.
No,
Arsenal, Man United.
And I don't even like. Do you know what? I actually don't want to talk about this because you're gonna make me say nice things about Liverpool.
You got United Trey on Twitter at the parade.
He is a disgrace.
I
like him.
You was at the parade.
No, I was not at the parade.
Come on, bro.
I like United Trey. I said this a long time. No Man United fan. No fan of any other club should have been there. If you are, you're not disgraced. What about the Arsenal fans? Hold on a minute, Master.
That's how big.
What about these new Arsenal fans?
Hey, come on.
What about these guys? What about these guys popping up?
Why are you gatekeeping? They all want to be a part of this.
They couldn't even name 5 players.
I've never seen an Arsenal shirt in South London in my life. I see Chelsea shirts. I see Palace shirts. In the last 6 weeks,
that's a massive club. That's a massive club. That's what that is.
South London has been rammed with Southern Arsenal fans.
That is a sign of a massive club.
But then it's a problem that loads of Man United fans aren't from Manchester. They're Peckham Reds. They're from London. You try being the biggest club in the world. You're going to have worldwide fans.
There was some people on the tube who drove from Manchester for this parade because they're Arsenal fans. It just shows how big they are. It's okay. Everybody want to be a part of this.
I'm actually pleased for you. Put all this aside. I'm actually really pleased for you, personally. I'm pleased that Arsenal have won this league. I just wish they would leave the other big clubs who have done this multiple. Leave us alone.
When was the last time you did it?
We done it in 2013.
Have you won back-to-back Premier Leagues before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and as of Chelsea won back-to-back Premier Leagues.
Who's talking in the past now?
Man City, they've won back-to-back Premier Leagues before, right?
Isn't that what they said about Arsenal?
I'm just answering the questions.
I'm just saying. Some people look in the rearview mirror, other people look through the window.
We've seen what you've done this year, playing horrible football in a weakened Premier League. Do it again next year.
And some tables. And you know what? You know when you're younger, right? Arsenal. You know when you're younger, right? And your parents got like certain things for like different guests that come round. And some kids, the kids are not allowed to sit at places. It's for the adults. It's for a different type of people. That's the Champions League. That's the Champions League table for you. So, like, because what it is now, what we have to discuss is the league is accessible. It's a huge, huge achievement. In fact, I honestly do believe you needed it more. You need that Premier League. However,
I think
Master,
they both matter.
They both matter.
I'm not here with that.
But you needed the Prem. But you need domestically, like at home, like you had to do it, right? 6-year project, like 38 games, it's more hard. I get it, right? But you see the Champions League table though. It's like just leave that for.
How did United do in the Champions League this season?
No, we're talking about winning it.
Okay, yeah, but again, stuck in the past. It's okay.
No. These things matter.
It matters.
You've been trying to do it, and
give me your schedule. Give me your results.
You failed.
How did you fare?
You failed. You've never won this competition before.
It's coming from people who couldn't get out of the round of 16 for like 6 straight years, and then, by the way, we're in the Europa League and not in any European.
And they had a Europa League run.
You
had a Europa League run to the final.
Yeah.
So okay. But then you played an actual good team, and you fell short. But it happens. They're the best. PSG are the best.
They are.
Not you.
And you know what? Fair play to them. That's all good. Yeah. We go again next season. It's all good. But we'll see.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. In the what?
Hopefully we get good. Hopefully, I'll tell you what.
Talk to me about Man United.
Because it's a new league format in the Champions League. I'm foreign to that. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't know about buys to the next round and stuff like that. Back in my day, I'm going to do that. Back in my day, you had to, play the best over 2 legs and all this.
Not having to play,
because even Spurs finished 4th in that, so it can't be hard. So that achievement of being so high up on that thing.
If you would have qualified, you would have known.
It's obviously easier to get further in the Champions League. So I'll enjoy.
Qualified, you would have known. You'll find out.
I'll enjoy going further than Arsenal next year.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think?
Yeah, of course.
I think Arsenal will win a Champions League before Man United win another major trophy.
No,
I think they will.
No, you won't.
Because this summer,
especially not Champions League.
I think Arsenal is on the cusp of winning the Champions League. They're finishing the final. The improvements they've had the last couple of years. Again, growth is not linear, and I'm not delusional enough to understand that.
Yeah.
It was a very favorable pathway. That's why I didn't view it as a free hit. You're here. You have this moment. You have this opportunity. Maximize this window. And
you did. And look, they fell short. It's penalties. 2 penalties.
This isn't the 2006 team. Vieira wasn't leaving. Henry wasn't aging out. Like that team was hitting their final moments when they got to the Champions League final. Yeah. This team is young and has got plenty of talent and is going to invest again this summer. You should win a Champions League in the next 5 years. If you don't,
sports is like that. You just
things can change really quickly. Look at Liverpool. Yeah, they were on top of the world. They're Premier League champions. This
is how we unify the group.
I think here on the S-Side we can do a bit of everything, right?
We can. Yeah.
There's a time where we're gonna, but also we're very knowledgeable people.
Of course, exactly.
Will, you're a knowledgeable guy.
But Ederson, though, what is he going to add for United?
I think there's like a lot of. I'm not going to call it fake outrage. I'm going to call it lack of understanding. I don't think that Ederson is. The marquee signing, the dominant force, the one who's going to solve all Manchester United's problems. I think people forget Manchester United need to build a midfield department, a whole department. We have Kobbie Mainoo on his lonesome. We are looking to go deep into all the competitions and, be a respectable team again. So to do that, we're going to need a lot of multifaceted, different types of midfielders. I've said to Man United fans, what we do, and it's like this at loads of clubs, a little bit like yours as well, is that every fan kind of knows what you need going into a transfer window, right? We all know. So like last year, you needed a striker, you needed this, you need that, and then we get mad at the order of ceremonies. And what I mean by that is the order of which the players arrive. You start getting
you've got to get Martin at the end first. Yeah. If you signed Ederson at the end of the window as like a squad player, people would be like, "Yeah, great, perfect, good business." I mean? Because I was worried you were going to come in here and tell us that he's like going to start and he's combative, hard fought. He's a little bit of that. I mean this as a compliment. The guy, he can't get in the Brazil squad.
With that though,
he's super hard working. He can put a foot on the ball. He's not a bad player at all. But he's Fred 2.0, and Fred was a good player for Man United.
I was going to say different horses with different courses.
You also need to go out and sign Elliot Anderson or whoever that 8 is that you're going to get, that's going to be the guy you're going to have to spend 80, 90, 100 million pounds on, who's actually going to partner Kobbie.
All of that is still true. And this is why. But what I will say is, when we signed Stanley Lemons, we signed him on deadline day. He was our most important signing.
He was one of the best signings probably in the entire season in Europe.
Exactly. He actually won like officially, you know, because we're picking up loads of individual awards this year, no team stuff. So,
I mean, player of the season, yeah. You know, congratulations on that.
Yeah, you know, I don't like talking about individual stuff. But,
this is boosting.
Senny Lammers won the Premier League transfer of the season. That's what he won on the official Premier League. That's what he won.
Are they giving out medals outside of?
I don't know what they give. I don't know what they're going to give him. Maybe like a silver glove or something. I don't know.
Is there a parade for that?
You know, like an Iceman glove on the front of the cover, or like a MJ the movies doing the rap. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of. Maybe they give him one of them.
Hey man,
I don't know.
Beautiful. Well,
shout out my guy Senny Lammers.
Well,
but my point is that the order of ceremony shouldn't be studied too much. So in this case, when we're talking about Ederson, this doesn't mean we're not going to be in for Tonali or we're not going to be in for, I don't know, Baleba or Wharton or whatever. And this thing about you can't get in the Brazil team, there's a lot of Man United fans, I'm very concerned about that. Well, Lewis Hall can't get in the England team just because Thomas Tuchel just doesn't fancy him. Does that mean that Man United shouldn't sign him? Adam Wharton can't get in the England team because Thomas Tuchel just doesn't fancy him. Does that mean Adam Wharton's not ready for the next step to go to Liverpool, to Arsenal, to Manchester United? Trent Alexander-Arnold can't get in the England team because Tuchel just doesn't fancy him. Morgan Gibbs-White can't get in. You get where I'm going with this.
So Fernandes, is he in Portugal? I don't know.
He's not in the senior team. Exactly, he's not in the senior team. So he's young, coming out down 21s, not quite ready. But deemed as from Martinez that he's not. But he's a top player. Arsenal are there. PSG are there. Man United are there looking at him.
But it's also the weakest Brazil squad we've seen go to a World Cup in a long time.
Yeah, but when you look at the midfielders, though, and the type of manager, it's always down to just an individual manager. Look at Gareth Southgate. Like, I'm going to bring guys that fit in with what I want. You know, Casemiro wasn't getting in for a little while. As soon as Don Carlo gets back in, he's like, obviously I'm going to pay Casemiro. He's my guy.
And it goes back to what Carlo's final years at Real Madrid. He always leaned on the veterans more than he did on his youngsters.
It's his style.
That's his style. It's his first World Cup of Brazil. He's going in with guys that have been in this position before.
Yeah.
He's not here to coach.
I don't think that's a stain on Ederson of like, look at it, Man United jokers getting a guy who can't even get into the Brazil team. I'm like, that's just different horses for different causes as well. Like, teams are constructed with so many different players, especially at international level. Like,
the point is now you need to spend £35 million to get a squad player. That is what it is.
That's
where we are right
exactly.
now. You look at the business Arsenal did last summer, 250 million euros spent, right? And nobody in that team is a true blue starter. They were hoping Gyökeres would be, but like, they have built out their squad. That helped them win the Premier League. 100%. That's the point of it.
It was 55
You're
million.
doing those bits.
Yeah.
But you still, I think...
Noni Madueke was, 55 as well, 57? So...
It's got to be done. If you want to, I mean, our problem next year, I've said, like, away from Carrick, where some people are like, oh, I shouldn't get him and this, that. My thing is, like I said, it's just been recruitment. If we don't recruit strong enough, aggressive enough, ambitious enough, we're finished. All of this banter that I'm having with you and coming on the air, you're probably not even going to see me. If we, like, I'll just stop coming.
Don't run away now.
No, I'll be honest. Because if my recruitment...
Start turning up Arsenal parades.
You and United Trey, you guys are invited to the Champions League parade, the Premier League parade,
listen, man,
the treble parade.
No. I don't want invitations. I don't want handouts.
Come to the parade next season.
He wouldn't invite me to the parade. I'm a Reading fan.
Did he invite you to?
No, I didn't invite. No, because he was over there talking all this mess. But, you know, Arsenal parades are going to be like Carnival, bro. It's going to be every year. So you're more than welcome to come. You're more than welcome to come.
Be like that, man. Do you realise... Now we've got to go back to this. Do you realise, this was only this big because you don't win often. Do you realise that?
But you have.
If you actually win, I'm going to set you. If you actually win the league next year, it won't be that many people.
No, everyone had a great time. If anything, the simple fact that what happened the night before with the Champions League final, imagine how much bigger it could have been.
I don't.
No, that's the other. More fans
I heard a lot of that.
Come because of that.
I heard a lot of that.
True.
I reckon the number of people who didn't turn up for the. If you told me it was less than 5% of people who were going to go didn't go because you lost the night before, I'd believe it. I don't think it impacted the numbers. At all.
I met a homie that I was walking through 2 a.m. trying to, walk the pain off. It was a very painful night, and he didn't go.
I bet he still went.
No, he didn't go.
Yeah, you're saying that now.
Why? Because he didn't win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Well, then he's not a real, not a real. But that's not. Come on, man.
Bro.
Oh, I'm only going to go to the parade for the first time in 22 years if we collect the one trophy that we've never ever done before.
It wasn't about. It was more so how it happened and how painful it was and how.
Well, he was too hurt to be like, I need to go and celebrate the Premier League.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel sorry for him. That's not a good way to live your life.
I understand.
Do you still speak to this man?
I just met him that night. As I met all the other Arsenal fans that were coping all throughout Central London and West London. So,
was you how hurt? Like, obviously you're hurt because you really wanted that trophy. But
I was walking around for 4 hours around London.
Was you looking at the floor just like, can't believe this?
Yeah,
are we ever going to do this? Are we ever going to dine at that table? Are we ever? Now they can still sing Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that. It hurts. Is that what you was doing?
Because it was right there. Tactically speaking, everyone said Arsenal was going to get battered. Everyone said he said 5 goals. I think you said the same thing.
No, one thing I definitely did not say. I actually thought he was going to win it.
You did.
I thought he was going to win it. And I also said, like, there is no way in hell that PSG are going to destroy Arsenal. Like, they just won't do it.
He kept throwing this 5 goals thing back in my face, which I said 3 weeks earlier in a throwaway joke. And the rest of the time, I've been saying,
was it a throwaway joke?
No. The rest of the time, and you can go back and you can watch the live streams. You can go it's all over YouTube. I kept saying, you're going to have to play perfectly. You're going to play defensively. You're going to have to hold them. You're going to have to get a little bit lucky. And they did all of those things. And they still didn't win.
Yeah.
No,
They played 99.99% perfect, and they still
one mistake in the box. That's really it.
And because PSG was not because they don't have any other options. They don't have driving midfielders. They don't have anything to be able to take the team to them. When they subbed off all their attacking players, you didn't have anything to be able to go and take a stranglehold and go and try and win that game in 90 or win that game in 120. That's what you need to do this summer. You need to. I like the way he set up. I supported the way he set up, but you don't. There was no change of speed. There was no way of changing.
I don't think they. I don't think
to play for penalties. The moment you went to 1 or you went, penalties. Give us penalties right now.
I did not want penalties. Yeah. Once Saka came off, when all these other attacking players came off, Trossard came off, even though Martinelli scored his, then you start going down the list, and that's where you're debating, like, we can get lost in the Noni and the Zubimendi and Gabriel and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, these are what, the 7th, 8th, 9th best.
Well, they had their defenders taking.
Yeah, they had, all their guys too. You know what I mean? Dembele, all those. So again, but going back to United.
Yeah.
Are you guys competing in Premier League? What's up?
No, I think we need to be realistic. And I know you might think that's quite rich coming from me, being realistic. But I think we need to be realistic, right? My thing is that we need to be a consistent team again in all facets, right? So the European thing, the truth of the matter is you're 100% right. We're the yo-yo club of Europe, bro. Like, we've been Europa League, then don't win that, then Champions League, then get embarrassed, then back to Europa, then nothing. So we're doing this sort of yo-yoing through the European competition. That's not Man United. You can't start to be a serious team without having your reality check. Teams like Aston Villa and Newcastle United, what are they like? Obviously, the financial power. I'm not trying to say have aspirations like them, but what the key is let's get into Europe consistently. That's our aim. That is our aim. That has to be. And I know it sounds low from a United fan. You go, standards are on the floor. Well, our standards have been on the floor.
After 10 years, you've got to be.
We have to reevaluate. We are not. How can I be a Man United fan sitting here when my team has not been a consistent Champions League team like we used to be, and be like, that's not a concern of mine. That's a big concern of mine. So that's thing number one. So that automatically talks about finishing in the top 4/top 5 to make sure we are a Champions League team again. The style of football, I'll be honest with you guys, I think you start worrying about style once the manager's been there for quite a while and bought a whole load of players. For me, it's about 100%, because right now it's about results.
Yeah.
If we play exactly how we just played for them 15, 16 games under Michael Carrick, and that brought about every 12 to 13 games you lose 2, I'll take that. I just need to be consistent. Forget sprinkling style. You're having an argument about style now, and you're a champion. So this stylistic thing, people act like the most important thing in football is not winning. It is. That's the most important thing. The goalpost started moving with Arsenal because people just don't like them and started to talk about, but it's boring, it's negative. They win, and they win consistently.
I think that's why Arteta switched.
I just want to do that.
They went from an open style, attacking style, to very defensive because Arteta...
They did one style.
Sick of being the bridesmaid.
Yeah, exactly. And it worked.
And
it worked.
I'm not. You laugh, but I'm not. That's not intended as a dig in any way, shape.
Now they're married.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hey, I need another ring.
They need more rings. Yeah. So for me, and then you see cup runs of like, I want a good cup run though. That is where it's like, we're Man United. Everybody and just the top level.
Ten Hag won 2 cup trophies and he got sacked.
Like, and exactly, it's not the be all and end all, but I mean that's just like a default setting. Obviously, when my team Man United or your team Arsenal or Reading, whatever, any team that's in the FA Cup,
do
you want to win the FA Cup? I don't want to just, it's fine if we get to the FA Cup quarterfinals, or no, I want to win it. Carabao Cup, I want to win it. So I don't really add that in as an expectation. That's like, I know we went out of both cup competitions embarrassingly early in the first round of both, but like for me to sit here as a United fan and be like, well, as long as we can go one round further than last year, because that was an embarrassment. No, like we're supposed to be.
We get to the third round of the Carabao Cup by default now. We're back in the Champions League.
Oh yeah, we don't have to play in round 2 anymore. So I've already made progress.
Congratulations. You'll be in New York, right, for World Cup?
I believe so. Yeah. I believe so. I'm still awaiting clearance on that, as the Americans would say.
Have you been in New York?
I have many times. Okay, yeah. I've been in America many times.
So you got a lot of love from Americans. Got a lot of my friends and stuff. Big fan of yours.
I love it. Listen, I love America, and I'm happy that people in America love me. And actually, just on the channel, like United View and stuff, when we've gone out there, like the American United fans, as you know, along with Arsenal American fans, they're like massive out there, like huge. And when we've had like watch parties and like get-togethers and link-ups with like a lot of our viewers and communities, the love is just incredible. All over. We've been to Atlanta, we've been to New York, we've been to Chicago, we've been to North Carolina. I want to say. What's the less popular one? South Carolina. South Carolina.
Yeah, Greenville. Greenville Spartan. But both of the Carolinas.
Went to a college stadium there.
Did you go to Clemson or South Carolina? Which one?
It was South Carolina.
Oh, the Gamecocks.
That was it. Them.
Yeah.
But I have to say this just really quickly. You lot need to chill out with the weather warnings. It's too distressing.
Oh, hey.
They said don't leave because you're going to die.
It's real.
Because you're gonna die.
Them tornadoes.
Because it was torrential rain. It said, "Do not leave fear of death or like threat of death."
You get washed away, bro.
I was like, and then it just stopped and the game carried on. But I was just like, "Come on, man."
No joke. It's no joke. Welcome to America.
Yeah.
I hope they lighten it up for the World Cup a little bit because I can't be having this. The last lightning strike was 43 minutes ago,
hey, man.
So we can't resume the game yet.
You want to get struck by lightning or not?
No, that's true. I know you're trying to look after me, man.
I'll take the risk.
It was a bit like
there's 70,000 people there. I can take that risk. I might be the largest person of the world. So I'll take the risk. Just get the game going. Come on, boys. Flex, wonderful.
Great to have you on. You'll be on a lot more, I'm sure, throughout the World Cup. Much love, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Join us from out there.
Yeah, 100%, exactly.
What else are we doing on the S Word? I can't remember.
I don't remember what the last segment is.
Transfer talk. Doing some more transfer talk. Yeah. That's all coming up.
Coming up next.
Just keep it locked.
Yeah.
The daily deep dive into the world of football. The S Word from talkSPORT. talkSPORT presents The S Word. Listen again and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel.
Oh, we're back on me first time again this time, are we? Brilliant. I'm looking up over there. Lucy. We need more looseness. That's what we need. We need. This is the fun. Yes, I felt like yesterday's show we kind of barreled into the World Cup stuff, and we're like, oh my god, we need to really do the World Cup. We really need to do it proud. We need to do our group previews. We need to mention every team. Let's just have some fun. Come on, that's what people want.
That show was all over the place too.
The S word is silly.
The S word is silly.
Spontaneity. The S word is shockingly. Yes, I nearly said the S word is scrumptious about the food draft yesterday, which, by the way, they demonetized on YouTube. How dare you? How dare you take that away from me?
Fantastic segment.
It's going to be going up in full for people to watch back. If you didn't see it, we're going to do a whole World Cup food bracket, and it's going to be sensational. But we're going to finish off the show looking domestically, looking at some moves, particularly here in the UK, across Europe as well. And I want to start off with the news today that Everton are showing interest in Jared Bowen. Returning back to play for his former manager, David Moyes. Does he like him more than the fans did? Is a big question. But a bigger question, truly, and I'm going to annoy two fan bases with this. Jared Bowen should absolutely leave West Ham. No doubt about it.
100%.
Like, he's a Premier League footballer. He should not be playing in the Championship. All of this team loyalty, all this doing it for his father-in-law and all of that. Yes, if Danny Dyer was my father-in-law, maybe I'd listen to him. Maybe I'd be a bit scared to do anything but.
Shout out, love.
Get his blessings. Move on. Don't go to Everton.
Why?
That's not the team.
What?
Jared Bowen is good enough to be playing European football. Jared Bowen is good enough to be playing.
He can help Everton go to Europe.
Yeah, but he's already hitting 30. He's already this is his age 30 season coming up. He's already getting to that point where he should be in there. I truly believe that a team of, I was going to say Chelsea, then obviously nowhere near Europe. If Aston Villa are forced to move on from, say, a Morgan Rogers, which there's a lot of people eyeing him up.
Yeah, he plays different
positions, but you're going to need attacking talent. Chelsea, Liverpool, go to a big team, get your big payday. Liverpool would do brilliantly to have Jared Bowen in that team right now. He'd be ideal for Andoni Areola. I just truly, Everton does not feel like the one to me. It's Everton. Tottenham's the other one. People are talking about him going to Tottenham. They finished 17th the last 2 years.
Everton is a great spot.
He'd be a brilliant. He'd be a brilliant signing for Everton. He'd be a brilliant signing for Tottenham.
Great fit for him.
Jared Bowen, go and find yourself Champions League football. Go and find yourself European
Everton
football.
And go earn European football with them. You'd be perfect on the right. You'd be a great solution for them. Depending on what happens with Jack Grealish, hopefully he goes back to Everton as well. You get Jack Grealish on the left. You get Bowen on the right.
So David Moyes can just waste more attacking talent then.
No, it's not going to waste him. It's fantastic. Bowen on the set pieces. He drives in great crosses. He helps deliver and create chances, something Everton desperately needed, especially after Grealish was injured for much of the second half of the season. You keep telling him to go to Chelsea. For what?
Jared Bowen.
For what?
Jared Bowen. Chelsea is bad shout. I was wrong on that.
Chelsea's terrible.
I was wrong on that. It's a bad shout.
And you tell him to go to Liverpool.
I'll hold my hands up. Don't go to Chelsea. That's also stupid. Don't go to Chelsea. Don't go to Everton.
Liverpool's talking about
Tottenham.
Diomande and Barcola. They're spending bigger and they're going younger. Liverpool's trying to sign younger talent. Bowen, at his age, where he's at right now, you can build up a great career to finish the next couple years at Everton, find a great home. It's a great fan base, great club.
You've spent so many years in the lower mid-half of the table with West Ham. You had a little flirtation with Europe. You won your trophy. Brilliant. Good for you.
Everton is...
Go to a big club.
Everton, I think, with the Jared Bowen addition, I think Everton makes it to Europe next season. I do. I think they qualify for one of the European spots. I do.
If he goes there, we'll revisit this and we'll do a gentleman's bet on it. Yeah. I do not think that he will turn them into a European team because I do not believe that's who they are.
They just missed out by 4 points?
Yeah, but that's also because it was an increasingly truncated Premier League.
It's going to be that again next season.
They're still finished 13th.
It's going to be that next season as well. Everyone is spending big. The margins in the table for the Premier League is only going to continue to be as narrow as it was this past season. It's not going to change. You're still going to be competing against the Brightons, the Bournemouths, the Sunderlands, the Brentfords, God forbid what happens with Chelsea, Fulham's, Newcastle's. All of these clubs are going to be fighting for the Europa spots, the Conference League spots. It's not going to change. Bowen has a chance here to fortify himself within Everton and elevate them into, a 6th place Europa League team, 7th place Europa League team.
Also,
I think it's absolutely possible.
Michael Carrick moved in Buemo, more central. There's some space on the right for Man United as well. I'd take United as well. Go United. Go Liverpool. Go teams who need depth. Go teams who are...
United needs midfield.
Go to teams who are playing in 4 competitions. Yeah, but they can get Jared Bowen for 20 million, 25 million pounds, and then...
with 40, I think it's maybe a possibility. I don't know. The reports are 50 million quid, could be gone for 40 million. I think Everton's a great spot for him. And Everton's in a position now, after the first season in their new stadium, they need to spend big, especially get some attackers in to really balance out the side, because they could not score a goal to save their life at the end of the season. I think he'd be a great fit. I do. Stop knocking on Everton.
I'm knocking on who I want to, thank you. I'm not saying Everton are a bad football team. I'm not saying Everton is a bad... It's a lovely fan base.
Big fan base.
It's a great new stadium. It's a lovely fan base. Biggest team in Liverpool, as you like to say. Oldest, maybe. Definitely not the biggest.
You go there, it's a different story.
But I think Jared Bowen should have his eyes set on a team that finished in the top 5 last season. Villa, Man United, Liverpool, one of those 3. I think he can play for
Everton. Everton is a great fit for Bowen.
With Aston Villa, they have had come out and again talked about their intent of keeping Morgan Rogers, as there's people eyeing him from left, right and centre. Do you think it's weird that we're in a world where we're talking about Anthony Gordon, £80 million, £70 million in the end, sorry. Julian Alvarez, €130 million, so probably £110 million. Morgan Rogers, they are talking about a similar fee to Anthony Gordon. If I'm Villa... Do you hold out for a triple figure? Do you believe you can get 100 million for Morgan Rogers?
I mean, when I initially saw that number, I wasn't sure. We'll see what happens with this World Cup as well. Obviously, you kind of get inflated transfer fees during a World Cup with a good performance. He turns 24 in July. Really just hasn't even entered the true prime of his career. I think it's possible for a team that really needs a 10 and needs someone that can fortify the midfield and give them an incredibly talented attacking midfielder that continues to ascend in the Premier League. Which team is the best fit for that? I'm not sure. Because with Arsenal, they just spent with Eze, obviously, and Arsenal's biggest need is left wing. They need a left winger. And are you going to once again turn an attacking midfielder that's best played in the middle of the park? Are you going to try and use him on the left side? I don't know how that fit works for Arsenal personally, but I think it's feasible that they'll get a good fee for him. I'd like to see him stay. I would, but it sounds more and more that he's wanting to make a move, especially when Villa made Champions League. Unai Emery staying there. They just won the Europa League. It feels like he could spend another season at Villa and figure out how the rest of the landscape shapes out. But what do you think would be
I hope for Villa's sake and for Morgan Rogers' sake, actually. I like him staying at Villa.
I do too.
I like him building at Villa. I like Villa going from being a team that won the Europa League and finished in the top 4 to push on and actually try and join. There is a space in the Big 6 right now. Tottenham are not in the Big 6.
No.
Aston Villa are a old enough and big enough football club. Villa Park is a stadium which needs some redeveloping to kind of reach the level of those other teams. It's a beautiful stadium. It's a wonderful place to visit. Many of my great friends go there. But I'm just saying, if you want to be truly in the elite, maybe you do need to redevelop that. But I think that they can push on and push up. They were, the lowest net spend in the Premier League last year. So why not push on, keep your big players, invest, go into the Champions League, try and push on in that top 4. Like, there's no reason to not. Everyone else is changing managers, everyone else moving around you. You've got Unai Emery, push on. I'm not saying you're going to challenge for the Premier League necessarily, but why not? Why not be a team that can actually ascend? Don't give away.
What do you think would be the best fit with Liverpool, City?
Sign Jared Bowen.
I'm saying for Morgan Rogers' sake, do you think if 100 million quid, do you think City spends that? Do you think Liverpool spends that? Do you think Arsenal spends that? Do you think someone else outside of the Premier League, someone else spends it? Bayern Munich, maybe? What do you think?
Bayern's a really interesting shout. I suspect that he is a guy that would move within the Premier League if he were to move. That would be my suspicion. I think he would be great at Arsenal. I think he's exactly the kind of player you need to link that great back line to the front, that kind of driving, I just talked about earlier, driving midfielder, a guy who can pick up the ball and run with it. I think he'd be sensational there. I think Arsenal are turning their attentions elsewhere this summer. I think they are looking at that left wing and they're looking at that centre. If they're going to spend that big money. We did some transfers. That was good. That was fun. Yeah. But we got to the end of the show. Tomorrow, Group E, Group F. We got Christina Unkel coming on for some clear and obvious. We got the great Kev Hatchard. We got Seb coming on. And we are going to be speaking after the show with a big name, which we're bringing to you later in the week. So
don't spoil it.
It's coming.
Peace.
We'll be with you.
Around here, we only use the F word. talkSPORT presents the S word.